Over the last few years, Acura has been on a mission to instill precision-crafted performance into every new vehicle they make. It all started, of course, with the current generation RDX, introduced back in 2019. This was a pretty radical change for the RDX because it introduced an Acura-exclusive platform. It brought back a turbo engine with super handling all-wheel drive, and this was the first new Acura vehicle to get their true touchpad infotainment system. Now, of course, fast forward a few years, and new competitors has forced Acura to make some changes to the RDX for 2022. And as you can see today, I'm in beautiful Malibu, California with this 2022 RDX Advance Plus a-spec model. It's a new trim level for 2022. And if you stare at it from the front fascia, you may actually notice that it doesn't look all that different from the 2021 version. So if you guys are in the market for a new compact, sporty, luxury crossover, how does the refreshed 2022 RDX stack up? Stay tuned to find out. Hey guys, I want to take a quick break to thank you all for watching this video and talk about a bunch of new merch that we just added. It's all about the thunk. If you're interested in showing your support by purchasing this shirt, as well as a few others, be sure to visit the merch shelf located just below this video. Now, speaking of support, be sure to like, subscribe, and be sure to turn on all those notification bells so you're always alerted every time we make a new upload. So before we talk about what's changed for 2022 in terms of the styling, I want to first show you guys what hasn't changed, and that's the powertrain. There's still only one engine available in the 2022 RDX. It's the company's 2-liter turbocharged direct injection 4-cylinder. This is essentially the same engine that you'll find in the Accord, in the Civic Type R. The output numbers haven't changed as well. You're still making 272 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. There was a time where the RDX was one of the most powerful in this segment. However, now competitors like the new Lexus NX and Genesis GV70 have more horsepower from their 4-cylinder turbos. All that power goes out through still a 10-speed automatic transmission that is an Acura design transmission. And then you could take your pick between either front-wheel drive or for $2,000 extra, you can get the company's super handling all-wheel drive. RDX models are equipped to tow a maximum of 1,500 pounds, which is less than the competition. And fuel economy hasn't changed. This RDX Advance Plus a-spec model is rated to get 21 in the city, 26 on the highway. Acura says it's good for 0 to 60 in about 6.5 seconds. And as this one sits, it weighs in at around 4,000 pounds. Now, as you shut the hood and look at the styling of this vehicle, you might actually just think it looks like the old model, and I wouldn't fault you for thinking that because Acura's changes here are pretty subtle. However, if you have the two cars side by side, you're going to notice that the front fascia has actually been changed this year. The front end got these new intake manifolds right here, where these are actual functional air vents here that allow air to pass through the wheels. The front bumper kind of reminds us of the new MDX, and Acura says these new air intakes kind of visually widen the front end, even though the front of the vehicle actually isn't wider at all. The headlights are the same. You still have the July full LED headlights with LED low and high beams, LED turn signals, LED daytime running lights, but Acura says the housing is now a little bit darker, especially when you guys go for the A-spec model. The grille also has a slightly thinner outline to the diamond pentagon grille. Remember, there was a time where Acura was struggling, of course, with their grille designs, and I really think they've nailed it now. The lower front end, you can see the fog lights have been slightly changed. They're still in the same position, but the shape is a little bit different. And I'm surprised this actually isn't a shinier piano black trim here on the lower front skirt. It's kind of like a non-glossy plastic, which I personally think Acura has done well with the styling. This is still one of the more attractive options for me, especially in this Apex Blue. I just really love how Acura has finally paired the advanced package with their sportier A-spec package. They used to not offer that for the longest time. So it really shows you that Acura is finally listening to their customers and, of course, the dealerships. Now, looking at the side profile, this is still one of the bigger entries in this segment at around 187 inches long. Its wheelbase is 108.3 inches long. And really, the shape of this car is pretty attractive to me. I like how it has a lot of sculpted lines. It definitely makes the car look a lot more aggressive. And in terms of the wheels, Acura offers a choice between either an 18-inch wheel all the way up to a 20-inch wheel. This is the new shark gray multi-spoke 20-inch wheel that you get with the A-spec plus the advanced package. The regular A-spec with tech has a slightly different wheel, which is the same wheel from the previous pre-refreshed model. These wheels certainly look good. They're wrapped in wide 255 with tires, which again gives the RDX a pretty planted stance. In terms of ground clearance, Acura lists it at just under 8 inches, which does give you some off-road ability, but you're probably not going to do that, of course, with those big wheels and tires. The A-spec model also blacks out a lot of the chrome, so you'll get the black here on the lower side skirt, you'll get the black on the window trim, and then if you want, you can also option in roof rails with crossbars, and then a pano roof comes standard on every RDX, which is nice because competitors like the new Lexus NX force you to pay extra for a pano roof, whereas Acura gives that to you as standard. So this is where the value quotient comes in. Now, looking at the rear, the changes on this model look almost non-existent from the back, although the A-spec model is a little bit harder to notice because Acura did change the rear diffuser slightly. You still get those big fat exhaust tips, but on non-A-spec models, Acura threw in rectangular exhaust tips, and this is the second Acura model to get a available blacked out emblem package from the factory. Before that was always like a dealer accessory, but now Acura is finally offering the black emblem package if you guys prefer that. This one here doesn't have that option on it, but it would basically black out all the chrome, which would make this car look a little bit nicer. Now, opening up the cargo area, it's still one of the biggest in the segment. Acura says when you have the second row seats up, remember this is not a third row vehicle or three row vehicle, you get just under 30 cubic feet of space. Fold down the second row seats, it expands to a whopping 79 cubic feet of space, which makes it one of the roomiest in the segment. You still have this floor here where you can put some stuff underneath there, and you can also adjust the level of the floor. You can see with all of our camera gear in it, there's still plenty of room back here, and also folding the seats is pretty easy. You just pull on these handles back here, and you can see the rear seats are spring-loaded, and that allows you to expand the cargo capacity at your leisure. But overall, it's definitely one of the biggest that you'll find in the segment. So clearly the exterior changes on the RDX are pretty minimal, but what about the interior? Well, once I get inside and shut the door has a nice solid sounding thunk, so that hasn't changed. And you can also tell this interior color is new this year. This is their light orchid premium Milano leather. It is included if you guys go for the advanced trim or the A-spec trim. I also love the kind of black contrasting piping and stitching. These seats are 16-way adjustable. I have two-person memory on the driver's side, and they also are heated and ventilated. So very premium seats, and they're also really supportive. So I really like the seats. Now, the other thing you're gonna notice, there is a new key fob this year. You can see this is the new key that Acura introduced on the MDX. It's their smart access key with remote start. There's also the ability to remote start the vehicle through the Acura Link app. Acura says you could do that from far away when you have access to the app, but because we don't have access to the app, just put your foot on the brake. The stop button is right here where you'd expect it to be. And you can hear the chime was new when they first introduced this generation. The rest of the interior looks pretty familiar, but there are small detailed changes. Now, first thing you're gonna notice, there's a new steering wheel now. It's got the flat bottom design with the A-spec badge. This is included if you guys go for the A-spec trim. And up in the seat, the steering wheel is nice. You have these metal accented paddle shifters on the back. You have the contrasting stitching. It feels really good in your hands, and it also looks really sporty, so I really like that. In terms of the interior materials, the RDX had one of the most luxurious feeling cabins in the segment, and that kind of continues. I really love the real stitching with the leather that you find on the center console. It kind of carries through onto the dash here with the suede Alcantara. This is a soft touch injection molded plastic, but it also doesn't feel quite as nice. It's a little bit too smooth for my taste, and it also doesn't match the soft touch injection molded plastic that you find on the door panels. So that's something that might irritate some of you if you prefer more consistency. Luckily, all the metal trim that you see here, Acura says, is genuine. Metal accented door handles here, metal accented speakers for the ELS surround sound 3D 16 speaker stereo. All the windows are one touch up and down, which is what you expect. And in terms of the gauge cluster, you can see that hasn't changed. I'm actually really sad that it didn't change because Acura has a fully digital display in something like the MDX. Even a Honda Civic is available with a fully digital display. So instead you just have a 7-inch helper screen in the center here. Where you can kind of customize it as well if you'd like, but really it would be nice to see if Acura did that and gave us a full digital display. There is a 10.5-inch head-up display that's included, of course, with the advanced package model. Now that you can combine it with the A-spec, it's really nice to have. And then going over here to the infotainment system, this is still a 10.2-inch display here for the Acura 2 touchpad display. It now includes, as you can see, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and Amazon Alexa. My phone wirelessly connected. It's pretty nice how it does that. You can't actually make this full screen. This little widget page here on the side will always be there, and you can kind of adjust the screen between 3 different cards using the touchpad. And then if you want to control this, it's not a touch screen. You have to slide with the touch pad over here, which functions like a mouse pad. But if you guys go back to the regular Acura system, this is their true touchpad interface with perfect one-to-one positioning. I still kind of think Acura needs to consider just making this a touchscreen. If they push this screen forward, just give us a touchscreen, or at least give us both options. I think that would be better. But this is obviously better than what Lexus is using in their older system. But this screen also is starting to look a little bit small considering some competitors have gone to a larger display. Now, in terms Of the rest of the center stack here, you can see lots of piano black plastic. You have your heated and cooled seat controls over here. You have dual zone climate control. Your drive mode selectors right here. There's 4 different drive modes: snow, comfort, normal, and sport. No individual setting in this vehicle like you might find in something like the Type S. One thing they did add, however, if you notice, I went to sport mode. The ambient lighting in this vehicle has 27 different colors. This is new this year. Previously, the RDX had kind of lame ambient lighting or lack thereof. So it is nice that you have that. If you go to the drive modes here, you can see it changes the color. You can also change it individually when you go into the settings here, which is nice. This controls the 10-speed automatic transmission. It's still their push-button transmission selector. Go into reverse here. This is now giving me the full 360 camera, which you could not get before on the A-spec model, so it's nice to have. The graphics is fine. You have parking sensors, and you have low-speed automatic emergency braking. Down over here, you'll find the wireless phone charging pad, which if you guys go for the tech package and up models, the wireless charging pad is going to be included. It's a nice location for it. It's nice that they finally added that. It's something that was lacking in the pre-refresh model. Over here under this lid, you'll find your cup holders, a lot more storage. There's a USB-C over here. And I also like how the lid feels nice and sturdy. Open this up, you can see there is a decent amount of storage in there. No power outlets or USB ports. They're all located here or in this area. And then above me, you can see LED lighting, which is included, and then the massive panoramic roof, which is standard. It really lets in a lot of light, and I think Acura did a good job of just keeping this interior nice. I mean, overall, the space is good. It's got lots of great tech. The seats are comfortable, and I think a lot of people are going to find plenty to like in this vehicle. I wouldn't say it's my favorite interior in this segment. The screen is starting to look a little bit small, but it is a really nicely designed cabin that feels premium and upscale. So if you're looking for one of the roomiest compact luxury crossovers in the segment, you're going to want to take a look at the 2022 RDX, because Acura says here in the second row you get 38 inches of legroom. 38 is more than what you're going to find in the Genesis and in the Lexus, and you can see the floor here is almost completely flat, or it's basically flat, so you can fit 3 people across. The leather has the same beautiful Milano leather with the light color that I really like, that was new this year. And then you get some nice features because they finally combined the advanced package with the A-spec. So you get rear seat air vents back here, you have heated back seats, which are 3 level, and then you have 2 USB-C charging ports. So of course, that's finally giving us the features that we were looking for. You have 2 storage pockets in each of the front seat backs, and then the seats themselves have an armrest here that folds down and gives you 2 cup holders. Sadly, the seat does not recline. So that's one thing. Some competitors offer a seat back that actually reclines. The RDX still does not. And then above me, you can see the panel roof is standard, so that lets in a lot of light. And I also like the fact that Acura carried over a lot of the LED lighting here in the back seat. All right, so here we are back in California, and as you can see, I've got the lovely Alex on Autos next to me. We actually haven't done a collab video for a while now.
It's probably the RDX.
Right, that was like 3 years ago, but we are in the refreshed 2022 RDX. It's a pretty mild refresh. I mean, Acura didn't need to necessarily do too many changes to it, but this is still one of the stronger values in the segment, and Acura likes to build this as the sportier option. And you know what? It still drives pretty nice. I will say this is the new A-spec plus advanced trim, so they finally gave us what we were looking for, and that's a fully loaded version with all the sport goodies. I can hear the tires already protesting because this is still very much all-season tires, and it's more of a luxury road car per se than a sporty car. But this has the same 2-liter turbo with 272 horsepower, a 10-speed auto. All of that is practically unchanged. Although this car used to be one of the most powerful in the segment. However,
yes.
Yeah, the Genesis GV70 has more horsepower, and even the new Lexus NX, Alex, has more horsepower than this.
And the GLC now is 300 horsepower.
Is it really 300 horsepower now? Wow. So yeah, Acura should have given us more power. There is rumors apparently of a Type S still in consideration. Is that what you told me earlier?
There are rumors, but nobody seems to confirm.
Okay,
and
so
Acura, of course, won't confirm or deny.
I mean, they definitely need to do one because, I mean, the V6 would fit in this car. And also remember, this was the first Acura to introduce their Acura exclusive platform. So it's not necessarily a CRV anymore underneath the hood or underneath the chassis. And you know what? This is still a really fun to drive vehicle, but the steering could probably use a little more heft to it. I have it in Sport right now, and there's no Sport Plus setting in this car because it's not a Type S version. The sound is also being synthesized through the speakers. It sounds okay. Definitely sounds better than the Lexus NX, the new one. And this car does drive better than the new NX. The one thing Acura said that they did is they retuned the adaptive dampers in this car And they also made it 30% quieter, which it's kind of hard to tell right now because we're on this really curvy road, and it's a really curvy road. Okay, the 10-speed there was a little bit laggy when I put my foot to the floor, but it's...
Put it in sport for your transmission.
Oh, that's right, there is a sport mode. Thank you for putting it in sport. It's perfectly fine. This is still a really nice driving luxury SUV that feels a little bit sportier than most of the competitors. Visibility is good. The seats hug you also okay.
Have you inflated your bolsters?
I have, yes. Although the bottom bolster could hug me a little bit more, sadly. But the side one at least, yes. The side one, however, is good. So this is still a really nice driving vehicle. It still very much feels premium to me. And I think you said you prefer the interior design of this over the Lexus, correct?
I prefer the interior design to the Lexus, but it's not exactly my preference, though.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised that they
like
didn't...
the Genesis better.
Yeah, the Genesis really is the new benchmark. I mean, we've got the 14.5-inch screen. This is a 10.2-inch screen. So Acura could have updated the tech in this car a little bit more because, yes, they gave us wireless CarPlay. They gave us a flat bottom wheel. They gave us wireless charging, and that's all great, but still no fully digital display. And the 10.2-inch display is starting to look a little bit small, just a little bit small. But other than that, I have very little.
The X3 got a size increase, but then they took away its touchscreen.
I think, but it's only because of the chip shortage, right?
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing to take away. I certainly wouldn't want to buy a BMW right now if I lost the chip or the touchscreen functionality. But putting my foot down here, you can sort of feel the super handling all-wheel drive, appropriating power side to side. Which this is still a fun to drive car to me. It's comfortable. It's really well rounded. I just want Acura to give us a little bit more. I mean, the refresh is pretty light, and we still don't know if there's a Type S version coming. And then there's also no electrified versions. Like, what is Acura doing? Like, a plug-in hybrid version of this would be great, I think.
That would be interesting.
It would be interesting.
Plug-in hybrids don't seem to sell well in this segment, except if you're Volvo, though.
That is true, but theirs also has like the bragging rights for horsepower. Yep. It's the top end.
Because have you heard BMW took away our plug-in hybrid this year?
Oh, for the X3?
Yeah,
it wasn't very good.
Gone.
It wasn't very good. And Mercedes also lost it in the GLC. It wasn't very good. Although the Audi one I haven't driven yet, the Q5.
Yeah, that one's good. I like it. It's not everybody's cup of tea with the dual clutch transmission.
Yeah, but I guess it again makes it feel different, a little bit more sporty. But this one here for about $53,000, it's still a good deal. But remember, you can get the Lexus and the Genesis for basically like $1,000 more. And I think I might go with the Genesis still. What about you, Alex?
Well, I'm torn. It depends on what the deal actually is at the dealer.
True.
If this was more than $2,000 less expensive, I might get this. I like super handling all-wheel drive, but I do like the interior in the Genesis better.
Yeah,
a lot of people tell me that dealer experience with Genesis is not where they want it to be, and I think Acura does have a slight leg up on dealer footprint and dealer experience.
I agree, and they also have really attractive lease deals, which I'm assuming Genesis will as well, but the dealers is where Genesis is struggling there. But
your warranty is going to be longer with the Genesis, and it does appear that reliability is better as well.
True, and this offers, I think you told me, more interior space.
Yes, this has a bigger back seat, so I think if you've got kids, especially young kids in rear-facing child seats, this is going to be way roomier than everything else in the segment.
Yeah, and I think people in America really appreciate the bigger back seat, bigger trunk space, so still a great car. I just want Acura to give us a Type S version. Even better if they did. Now, when Acura introduced the all-new third-generation RDX 3 years ago, they must have done something right because this model quickly became the company's bestseller, with Acura moving well over 60,000 units annually here in the States. This now outsells the MDX, which for the longest time was Acura's best-selling model. So after spending some time with the refreshed 2022 RDX, it's pretty clear here that Acura didn't want to mess with the formula because this is already a really attractive compact luxury crossover. Acura essentially took all the problems that we had with the old one, or the complaints that owners had, which is the lack of features, the fact that you couldn't get the a-spec with the advanced model. They finally added some new tech features like the wireless phone charging and really just expanded the color palettes of this car. I really like this Apex blue with the light orchid interior. That's stuff that they introduced on the new TLX. This is still certainly one attractive small SUV. I'm just not entirely sure it's the value leader anymore because there are vehicles like the new Genesis GV70. There's the new Lexus NX, which have better infotainment systems with larger screens, although I'd argue that the Acura's interior feels a little bit more luxurious. the RDX still remains one of the roomiest in this segment. And then of course, if you guys must have a German vehicle or a European vehicle, there's a lot of strong entries from BMW, from Audi, from Mercedes, from Volvo. So there are just a lot of choices out there, and it makes choosing the RDX a little bit more difficult because Acura doesn't necessarily offer something that just stands out anymore. It's just overall a well-rounded car. Now, speaking of which, if you guys are looking to purchase the 2022 RDX, they are heading to dealers practically as we speak by the end of this month. And it starts at around $39,300 for the base front-wheel drive version. Add $2,000 if you guys want super handling all-wheel drive. I imagine most of you are going to do that. The tech package is around $2,600 extra. That includes the wireless phone charging and all the tech features like the GPS, the ELS sound system that you're probably going to want. This particular one here, the new trim, which is the Advanced plus the A-spec model, stickers for about $51,300 plus destination. With that $1,000 destination, you're looking at just under $53,000. So obviously the new version is more expensive, but Acura has thrown in a lot more content in this vehicle to warrant that cost. If you guys want even more exclusivity, the PMC version is back, and it essentially takes this trim. It's hand built at the same facility that builds the NSX, and Acura will only be doing 200 of those for the 2022 model year. That one is about $54,000 plus destination charge. So again, this can get pretty expensive, but keep in mind it's still a lot cheaper than a lot of its European competitors, and it really only starts to make less sense if you're comparing it to the new NX and the Genesis, which are roughly about $1,000 more expensive. So let me know in the comments below if you guys would rather get this or you'd rather get the newer competition. I think this is still a really well-rounded car, and it certainly is an attractive offering in the very crowded compact luxury space. With all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2022 Acura RDX. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.